Old letter or old book page.
That is the book, that is a piece of the Torah. That is from Ethiopia, and it's about, that particular one is about 1,000 years old. Okay. And that piece, that particular piece, now the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament.
Old Testament.
And in some cultures, they'll keep these for a very long time. But as they start to get older, and this one is made out of leather, it starts to distort and twist and change shape because it's an organic material. Mm-hmm. And they'll take it apart, and then they'll auction it off, and then they'll have a new one made. Mm-hmm. And so I was fortunate enough to get a piece of it, and that particular piece is out of the that one is out of the book of Exodus, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so it was real exciting to acquire that, and I actually had it framed. And when I had it framed, the lady was very concerned because it was twisting slightly, and she couldn't get it lined up perfectly. And so I said, well, you're going to have to make the mat so it'll fit around it, but don't worry about it twisting. I mean, if I was that old and I was in perfectly good shape, I'd be very surprised. So something that old, don't worry about it. So her and I were discussing this, and it was a big deal because she was a perfectionist, and she was trying to get it right. And it turned out, as soon as I got it, I was very happy with it. But as soon as I got it and got it home and everything, I discovered that she actually had put it in upside down.
Oh my God. She wasn't know how to read in that language.
Yes. Yeah.
Bless you.
Page here.
God, you scared the life of me.
I didn't know it was coming, or I would have warned you.
In the Jewish religion, in the Jewish synagogue, they have Torahs in the cases, like.
Yes.
And they carry them around. People kiss them.
Mm-hmm.
When they touch it, they kiss the hand. And all the Jewish synagogues have them.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. And it's a really interesting experience to attend services at a synagogue, isn't it? It kind of gives you a little bit of different view of their faith and how everything works inside there.
Yeah, because it's the same faith. Jesus said, "I came to continue, not to change."
Yeah, that's Steve in Africa.
Huh?
That's Steve in Africa. He went to Africa.
And part of my mission is also in Africa. And I've done mission work in Russia, in Mexico, and in Africa, Kenya, Africa. And I work with
friends from Ethiopia.
I work with
Eli and Ethina and Nijal. They say we are from line of Judah.
I work with a pastor there. His name is Jonas, and we've been working together for about 5 years now, and the ministry has continued to grow. What we're trying to do constantly over there is, of course, I do the Bible Chef ministry, but it kind of gets more dimensions to it every time. You know, it has more and more and more to it. So we started off with about 12 children, 12 orphans over there, and the plan was to get them housing, to help them with food, to help them with medicine, to help them with education, and to give them Bibles. And so today we're up to 156 children, and it just keeps growing. And so when I was there, you can see that I was doing a lot of other things. I encountered a lot of different people there. Most of them, they all had the same desire. They all had a desire in their heart to want to know more about the Lord. And just recently, I've been involved with the Gideons. Anybody know what the Gideons is? Whenever you go to a hotel, if you ever open up a drawer and you see a Bible in there, it's a Gideon's Bible, isn't it? Yeah. And so they've got what they call is a camp. It's really just kind of a headquarters there in Africa. And I've been working with them, and we've been getting Bibles to the children in Africa through them. So that's been really exciting. In fact, I just got an email from Jonas just a day or so ago, and he was telling me that they had 11 more children decide to give their heart to the Lord, and they're all holding up their Gideon's Bibles. So that was really exciting. But one of the main things that we really have to try and do is to pray for those children over there.
Yes.
Because they're in constant. It's a constant struggle just to live. They constantly have malaria. I'm constantly getting emails from them requesting that can you intervene? Can you help us any way to get more malaria medicine? And cholera. Cholera is a big thing because they don't have clean water. That's something we take for granted here in the United States. We have so many wonderful resources here, and we can just use the restroom. We can just get a drink of water. We can eat good food, and we can get medical care. And it's so hard for them to do that. When you go there, the first thing I noticed as soon as I got off the plane, it smelled like a dump. When you go to the dump, I don't know if you, not too many people do that anymore, but when I was a kid, my dad always went to the dump on either Saturday or Sunday, and that was always a fun thing to do for us, for kids. It was a crazy thing, but we always liked to go with Dad to the dump. So we'd load the truck up with all the trash, and we'd go out to the dump. It was a big landfill. Yes. And it had that smell. There's a particular smell about it, and you could just categorize it by itself. And when I got off the plane there in Kenya, that was the first thing I noticed. My driver was there to take our group, and it was the first thing I noticed was that it had that smell of a dump. And when you're going around to these children, that's where they are. They're digging through the dump. They're digging through the dump to try and find food, and clothes. And you see these kids wearing all these clothes. It's like, wow, why are you wearing so many clothes? It's hot out here. These are all the clothes I have. I don't want anybody to steal them. That's so sad. And the same thing about eating and drinking. They're digging around trying to find, a few coins or something to eat or something like that. So, but it's been a real blessing because we've saved a lot of kids. Sometimes it's sad. I get a message that one of them dies, but we do save a lot, and we save them from medical issues and starvation, and also we give them an opportunity to find the Lord. So it's really exciting. And
so you see better.
What's the city in Kenya?
No, that's okay.
You sure?
I'm fine.
what's the name of the city in Kenya? It is called. I went to several of them because they wanted to take me from place to place to place. I can't think of it right off the top of my head, the main one that I was at.
Addis Ababa,
Edessa?
Ethiopia, right? The name of the capital is Addis Ababa.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't in the capital.
It means something in Assyrian, but I don't remember what now. In Jesus language, the Aramaic, it means something.
Okay, one of the other things that I do is outreach, like this. Yay! And this is some pictures of me over at the Cypress Gardens. And they had a nice crowd out there in their front room. And it was, this is where one of these guys, I think it was this guy here at the bottom? Was it this guy, Kristen?
Yeah.
That was it? Yeah, there was a real energetic guy in there. I can't remember his name. He ran upstairs and he got one of his artifacts from the Middle East where he was, and brought it in to share with us. And it was really neat, and we got to share the food with him. And then afterwards, like Kristen said, he proposed to her.
Because of the
cheesecake.
Because of the cheesecake. Oh my God.
So sometimes you get a little too excited, I guess. But anyways, it was a real blessing to share with them. And hopefully we can go back there again.
So what did he share with your guys from Middle East? I didn't.
It was like a sundial type thing, that he had a small sundial, and he said that he had acquired that from the Middle East. It was made out of like bronze. And, he said he was in the Middle East and he acquired that.
قطعة برونزية مثل صندل.
Okay. And what I also do inside here is I also give people resources so that they can acquire anything that they need to help their study and their, if they're interested in the food, or if they're interested in Bibles, if they're interested in any of the resources, I try to make them available to people. Try to make the website easy. Have you ever gone to one of those websites? I don't know how many you go on the internet, but if you go to these websites, some of them are very complicated and you can't find your way around. And I hate that, so I try to make it really simple for folks to do that. Now, what we have done for you today, like I was talking about the different cultures, I talked about the Egyptian culture,
Roman,
and I talked about the Roman cultures. Those are kind of the main ones that really stand out when you're studying the Bible. So what we did for you is we made 2 dishes for you today. Now, the first dish is the Egyptian one. Well, actually, well, yeah, let's do the Egyptian one first. That's because my wife actually helped me in the kitchen, and God bless her, she's a wonderful helpmate. This particular recipe, does my mom ever tell you that she's from England?
Yeah.
Like about once every day or maybe once every hour? Does she tell you that?
not that much.
Not that much. Okay.
How does London England?
All right. Well, she was really born in Los Angeles, so don't let her pull the wool over your eyes too much. But anyways,
Thank you, son.
yeah, the truth be known. One of the first recipes here, we were talking about the Egyptians. I did this Egyptian bread pudding. Now my mother is, like I said, she's a lot of English influence there, so she loves bread pudding. So I decided bread pudding would be a good choice for today. Now the difference between this and a British style recipe is that this one is made with phyllo. Does anyone know what phyllo is?
No. Maybe we know it by different names.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, bread pudding can be made with just about anything. I mean, you can use bread, you can use biscuits, you can use pancakes,
Fava beans,
you can
garbanzo beans.
You can make it out of anything. I mean, it's just one of those kind of very flexible dishes. And the Egyptian style is to use phyllo. Now, phyllo is a very thin, rolled out. It's almost like a what we call like a crust, almost like when you're making a crust.
Like they do in Greek.
Yeah, it's much thinner. It's only about 1/8 of an inch thick. And when you take it off, it usually comes frozen, and you have to let it thaw out. Then you have to roll it out. Then you got to keep it moist, and you take it off, and it's very like onion skin sheets. You know, very very thin. And so what you do to make this is you take a box of that, and a box usually has about 18 slices in it. So you can take one slice at a time, you lay it out on a cookie sheet, and then you put melted butter across it. Okay, already it sounds pretty good, huh? Because we're moving in the right direction, melted butter, huh? And you're going to do that 18 times. Then you put that in the oven, and you're going to bake that for about 10 minutes at about 350 degrees. Now, it'll turn into like little crispy chips. Okay, and you break those all up, all these little crispy chips, and you're going to sprinkle it inside of a dish, like a baking dish, 9 by 14. Oh, I forgot to mention the word phyllo. That's actually a Greek word that means leaf. Yeah, and it's kind of really thin, like a leaf. Yeah. So then you, after that's all in there, now you're going to take some nuts. Now it recommends you can use almonds, hazelnuts, and pistachios. We're kind of out of season for hazelnuts, so I just put in almonds and pistachios. Now what I do is I put in a layer at a time. So after I put in the phyllo, then I put in a layer of